You Comfort Fluttershy by Little Owl. 1:21 1:22 1:23 As you sit and watch the numbers change on your digital clock, your frustration at your awake and yet paradoxically exhausted brain increase as sleep strays further and further away from you. Damn insomnia. It was something you've had all your life, but recently it was becoming a major issue. Initially you think that it won't be a problem as you close your eyes, to take joy from the simple pleasure of having your mind completely shut off from the world, ready to be full of beans and raring to tackle the morning ahead. That's when the minutes start to tick by, about 10 or 15 to be exact, before you realise that you aren't asleep. In fact, you aren't even tired, and you realise that all this time you've been forcing your eyes closed. Some nights you would toss and turn, searching for that sweet spot for your brain to go, "Enough! Sleep now!" But you can never find it until you wake up the next morning realising you only got about 2 hours sleep in said position. But the worst nights are when you just lie there, still, as if in purgatory, eyes wide open as your clock continues to pass the minutes by as you stare at it, deafening you with its monotonous rhythmic ticking that should be enough to put you to sleep if you weren't so wide awake. Not helping matters is the storm outside. The rain could be relaxing if you were in a especially tired mindset, but on sleepless nights like these, it's nothing but a nuisance. You look out towards the window, completely obscured by the dark, though you could see the outlines of little droplets trickling on the windowsill, ending in a small puddle at the bottom. This eventually becomes completely obscured by the vapour misting the window, and you are left once more with nothing to direct your open wide eyes towards. The brain buzz continues to keep your eyes open. Part of you thinks about turning the lights on and reading a book to help relax you. Options included a bevy of ones Twilight gave you, before realising that you have already read all of those during previous occasions of restlessness. However, there was that one book Fluttershy gave you on animals you haven't read yet. Maybe that would be an option. Fluttershy. Just the thought of that name already developed a fog of happy, relaxing thoughts in your brain. There was just something about her, as much of a cliche as it sounds, but not even all the wonderful traits that you could name just off the top of your head. It was just her. Her aura, her presence, just her being in the same room as her is enough to increase your heartbeat and make you feel a warm sensation inside. As these delightful thoughts caress your brain, you feel your extremities lower themselves against the covers. No conscious instructions necessary. A blink. Another blink. There is still hope. It's only 1:30 in the morning. You can get a half-decent 7.5 hours sleep before you have to get up for work. Such desperation to not spend your working day a sleep-deprived zombie will surely be enough to get you to sleep. You rustle in your covers, pulling your crumpled sheets back over your end of the mattress. You fluff your pillow, making a neatly woven place for your head and the pillow to do the rest as it consumes you with its blissful fluff. Yes! That was a blink! Now is the moment as you lay your head down, getting one last glimpse of the world. But just when you're about to open your eyes, you hear the turning of the knob and the very slow squeak of your door moving inwards towards your room. You feel like swearing every demeaning profanity at this newcomer that has just ruined your final chance at a good sleep. You're about to give them a piece of your mind until a singular yellow hoof is placed on the front of the door, and you can hear a slight tremble as Fluttershy moves her head around the door, the bottom of her teal eyes barely visible as she peers round to reach your gaze as the red mist swelling inside of you fades into an aura of confusion and concern. You smile warmly towards her as she opens her adorable little mouth to speak. "Oh, sorry," she says quietly, as if to salvage some of the quiet in the room so that you can return to sleep, only to realize just how fully awake you are. "I hope I didn't wake you. I know how difficult and rare it is for you to get a good sleep. I sincerely hope I didn't interrupt one of those." You can't help smiling at her. Though her timid nature hindered her confidence, it made her a very considerate and sensitive pony. For all her flaws, there were traits that gravitate you towards her. Your smile fades, however, when she starts to speak once more with a slight tremble. I just came in because..." She seems to struggle to get the words out. I trust you, and I thought the only way I could feel better was if I came to you. Something about you just being there. I thought it would be enough to make me feel better." Your smile grows broader as her face lights up slightly as she continues. "You probably want to know why I'm here," she continues sheepishly, turning her face away slightly. "You see, I had a nightmare." Your face quickly falls to deep concern as your heart twists in your chest as you stare at your dear friend. No wonder she seems so upset. Every part of your human instinct tells you to reach your arms out towards her and hold her close. You even feel droplets forming in your eyes before suddenly realizing that she was the one who was upset. It's not about you anymore. You don't care about falling asleep. Instead, it's about being there for your friend, and not just any friend, but one that's connection with you is firm and true. A friend whose kind personality and natural beauty only make you care for her as equally as you know she cares for you. Here she is, silent and scared, but also the radiant Fluttershy that was so very much worth protecting. "I tried going back to sleep, but I was just too scared." She then blushes ever so slightly. "Could I possibly, stay with you, at least for a little bit? Then I promise I'll go back to sleep." You nod. She could stay for the entire night as far as you were concerned. Anything to make her feel better. You motion for her to come towards. Fluttershy climbs in with you, her pink and yellow appearance adding a splash of colour to your boring white covers. You hold an arm up as she scooches closer towards you, and then lower it tentatively before softly making contact with her soft yet delicate touch. You feel her silky pink mane slide down against your sides as she leans her head against it and shyly wraps a hoof around your ribs, before a stifled, nervous sigh leads her breath. Thank you. I really needed this," she says quietly, glancing her eyes to the door, almost as if she is checking to see if the nightmares aren't following her. The sadness and worry you feel inside towards your friend is simply palpable. Whatever the dream was, it scared her good. You can confidently say you have never seen Fluttershy, such a timid and fragile soul as she is, in such a state. You feel helpless, as all you can do is hold her in your arms. Your mind tells yourself to ask if talking about the dream will help, but decide against it in fear of bringing up harmful memories of the clearly unpleasant dream. She came to you so you could chase the nightmares away, not bring them up again. However, talking about them and getting a sense of perspective for them would help you be able to comfort her more, telling her that there's no such thing as the monstrous imaginary figment her dream came up with. Plus, it could give her a sense of perspective. A realization that dreams are in no way real, to the point where she would consider herself silly for even thinking that dreams are real. She could never be silly. Not to you. Except for the fact that she trusts all of you people. You stir at her speaking once more. You are probably the only one I can talk to about this. I trust you. You wonder for a split second if she had just read your thoughts. You conclude that it was just coincidental. However, you wouldn't be so surprised if she did read your mind. Over the time you have known her, you have gained an almost telepathic connection with her. She knows how much you need to hear that she trusts you, and just how much you know that what she needs is someone to listen to her, but also give her a push so she will have the strength to be more confident, especially when it came to talking about emotions. It's moments like these that you realize the true extent of you and hers very strong bond, despite the fact you have known each other for a brief amount of time. You hear Fluttershy inhale deeply as she was able to speak out her biggest and darkest secret. Well, I should probably tell you about the dream. It went like this. I was playing with Angel. You remember my little bunny? At first I thought it was a good dream. Everything was so bright and vibrant and sunny, and we were playing in the springtime flowers. She smiled dully before her face fell to a sure frown once more. But then the dark clouds gathered above us, and Angel started running. I couldn't stop her before she reached the everfree forest. I called out for Angel, but I couldn't find him anywhere. That's when I turned and saw two very big bunnies behind me. Only two at first, but then there were multiple, and they began surrounding me. She starts to shudder as her voice begins to break. They started calling me a murderer as the thunder got louder and louder. And that's when the dream ended. I woke up in a hot sweat, and she begins crying, quietly but with uncontainable despair, burying her face into your chest as you quickly held her in one hand and went to stroke her mane in the other. Looking for any way to comfort her, you have to check that she can breathe properly as you squeeze her close to you, never wanting to let go of the sobbing mare. You cannot stand seeing her like this. You will not stand to see her like this. You will be the knight in shining armor she deserves. Chasing away the nightmares so she can sleep and return to a happy, caring self. This mare, it hurts to think about how much you love her. Yes, love her. You care too much about her to not feel this way. She moves her head to over your shoulder and wraps a tight hoof around your neck. Your tears flowing freely as much as Fluttershy's as you start to hear her breathing heavy, stifled breaths, drawn with anxiety and fear. This goes on for a good minute or two. Then her breathing slows, so consumed by the adrenaline of care, you don't fully feel the overwhelming warmth of Fluttershy's fur pressed against you during the embrace. Part of you feels it is necessary to let go and have some space to breathe. You do not want to let go, not until you are sure she is alright, until you feel Fluttershy's mane brush over your shoulder and against your ear as her head recedes and centers itself to meet your gaze. Her eyelashes glistening with the moisture of her tears, but through all of this you can see, faintly but very clearly, a sweet smile spread across her lips. The more she stares into you, threatens for more tears to emit. No, don't you dare say what you're about to say. I'm sorry. You once again press her towards you, your chest cushioning the sheer force of your arms, thrusting her head closer towards you. What could she be sorry for? I just woke you up in the middle of the night, just so I could come to you for pity, like the scared filly that I feel like I am sometimes. Fluttershy says once more, breathing, steadying. You cannot believe what you are hearing. You have seen the progress she has made from being that scared filly she once was, to a capable and caring friend. Admittedly though, this isn't the first time something like this has happened. In fact, the both of you have had countless nights of consoling, trying to get over horrible nightmare after nightmare. But you don't care. There is nothing, and not just nightmares, but in this world, you think that is worth causing Fluttershy harm. No matter how silly the thing she is worrying about might be, you will help her through it. Yes, she has grown more and more capable as time has gone on, to the point where she needs your help less and less. Doesn't mean you won't give it to her when the poor mare does need help. Of course, you don't want to coddle her, but you don't need to, because she always gets through it. And out from the debris of whatever obstacle she faces, she always comes out the wonderful Fluttershy she always is and always will be. As the both of you lay there, you subconsciously find yourself forgetting your own problems about falling asleep. Thoughts instead focused on the now, shuddering less and less. Pink and yellow mare in your arms. You don't realize it, but you feel exhausted, though you would do it any day of the week. Feeling sorry for another is draining. All the adrenaline of pity, your own tears developing at the sight of another's. It's enough to knock a person out. Eventually realizing this, you begin to relax as Fluttershy releases herself from you, sniffling quietly. You really do care, don't you? She asks softly, before giggling at the sight of your facial expression. You're doing that cute thinking face you do. What are you thinking about? But she doesn't get an answer from you, as you just lay there, eyes wide open, for really you aren't thinking. Instead you are feeling the aura of warmth within the room, having just had a heart-to-heart with Fluttershy. I love you. A quiet voice is heard beside you. Immediately you blush hot pink. A rush of warmth comes to her cheeks as well. It's true, and just you and me alone here reminded me of why. Your heart is pure, and I truly believe you care for me. And you want to know the amazing thing? You don't even do anything. From just you being there, I can tell just how much I mean to you, and how badly you want to chase away those horrible nightmares. You are my hero. You turn away with a modest look on your face. Honestly, to you, caring for another is simply too important to overlook. It's a common courtesy to show one how much they mean to you before your time together runs out. To care for another is something everyone should strive to do each and every day of their existence. What you just did for Fluttershy feels like common sense. Furthermore, you didn't even need to think about said emotions. They just came naturally. Maybe they wouldn't come so easily if you were comforting anyone else. Fluttershy had that effect of evoking empathy from others, but you still needed to feel them. A part of your brain still needed to clock that Fluttershy was upset and she needed someone, anyone to be there for her. You did what you had to do, and in some way it helped you with your problems as well. Hey, the cute soft voice spoke, once again chirps up, tugging you gently by the shoulder. I'm feeling a lot better now, but she yawns and giggles afterwards. I'm a bit too tired to get back to my own bed, so I was wondering if maybe to fix my predicament, I could Well, she shuffles closer to you and wraps her hoof on your midsection. Stay with you tonight? Plus I really don't want to be alone. And you are pretty comfy to snuggle. Your only response is a sweet smile. She lifts herself upwards as you shuffle around in the covers, trying to make yourself comfortable. Lowering your body so it is lying flatly on the bed, the pillow propped downwards, tilted ever so slightly by the rest on the end of your bed. Fluttershy meanwhile lies on her side next to you, propping a hoof up on her head as she stares at you lovingly. You comforted me. I think it's time I return the favour. She then frowns into a pondering expression. I know positive affirmations. If it's for you, then it should be easy. Now, just relax. You exhale a sigh and purposefully close your eyes to relax to Fluttershy's soothing voice as you hear the light get turned off as Fluttershy leans ever so closely to your ear. Words cannot describe how wonderful I think you are, but I figure you would like me to try. Honestly, if you ever think that you are not a nice person or someone worthy of a pony like me, then remember what you just did for me tonight. Your kindness knows no bounds, and your always optimistic persona is enough to keep even the most depressed pony in a mindset that life is worth living. Because without you around, I cannot imagine what life would be like. You are also brave, funny, and so caring. I don't know anybody else like you. You are one of a kind, and you embrace your individuality as someone who just loves being himself. And do not think this goes unrecognized. I've had many conversations about you with the girls and others. Every single one of them agrees that their lives have become so much better since you entered them. I can happily say that I am one of those ponies with an insight to that amazing brain of yours. I feel like I have such a special connection with you, and I would never give that up for anything in the world. We can read each other like books. I feel like I know exactly what you are thinking and vice versa. I don't think I'll share that kind of bond with anyone else except for you. You are special to me and to others, and even if you have to be told it 1,000,000 times over, because let's be honest, you do doubt yourself a lot, I am still more than willing to tell it, because when you love someone as much as I love you, you will do anything to see them smile. You faintly hear her wipe away tears before leaning towards you and brushing her lips against your cheek as you are sent into a blissful shiver as your consciousness starts to fade. I love you, and I will always love you, no matter what happens. I will never forget what you did for me tonight. Good night, my love.